Joining me now is Zahiro Shahar Mor. He's the nephew of Avraham Munder, whose body was recovered from a tunnel in Khan Yunis in August. Zahiro has been arrested at least 8 times by Israeli authorities since the start of the war for his activism against Benjamin Netanyahu and in favor of a hostage deal. Zahiro, thank you for coming back on Mehdi Unfiltered. Since we last spoke, you received the news and received the body of your uncle, your late uncle, Avraham Munder. I'm so sorry for your loss and what happened to him in Gaza. Do we know what happened?
No, we don't. We don't have any confirmation about the cause of death of my uncle. There are 2 main options. Either he was killed by his captors, you know, when the IDF was around enough to get them scared. Or there is a possibility that he was suffocated in the tunnel from a residue of CO gas from one of the bombs Israel is using. So
wow.
Either way, we don't know yet. We're waiting for...
We do know in other cases that hostages have been killed by Israel while trying to rescue them. This is why some of us, you and I, have tried to end this war. And while, of course, we should blame Hamas for taking him hostage, which is a war crime, an elderly man, a non-combatant, you blame Netanyahu for not doing a deal to free him before he died in Gaza. Is that correct?
Correct. It has been a year, Mehdi. It has been a year.
Yes.
You know, the first day, on October 7th, last year, when my cousin Karen got to Gaza, her captor told her, don't be so afraid. 1 or 2 days and you'll be home. It's unimaginable that we are now, a year has passed. And, you know, every chance, every venue, that every avenue, every road to some kind of agreement was torpedoed. So, and we know this for a fact. We have all the events were on record. All the torpedoes, the torpedoing is on record. This will be remembered for history.
But just to be clear, had Netanyahu extended a version of what they did in November or what was proposed in June, your uncle could be alive today.
Correct. My uncle survived the Gaza tunnel for 4 to 6 months. We will never know the exact date, probably, but 4 to 6 months. And he was 79 with preconditions, and it's unimaginable what
it is.
His last months of life has been.
We are very sorry for your loss. We acknowledge that a year in, there are still over 100 hostages, we don't know alive or dead, in Gaza. You have sadly experienced having family members both rescued and now killed in Gaza. Your uncle's body was recovered, as we said, in August. His wife, daughter and grandson were released during that one hostage deal last November between Israel and Hamas. So I wonder, Zahiro, what was your reaction during Benjamin Netanyahu's recent speech at the United Nations when he boasted that, quote, Israel has brought home 154 of these hostages, including 117 who returned alive, which is interesting given he was never in favor of doing it that way.
Correct. It's, you know, it's satirical in historic proportions, really. It's unimaginable, the levels of cynicism that is going on here within the Israeli government. And I just wanted to add, if I may, that also my cousin, Avraham Munder, 50 years old, was killed on October 7th in front of his house in Kibbutz Nir Oz, my beloved cousin. So I don't believe Netanyahu one bit, and his whole... Firstly, he speaks differently in Israel and abroad, of course.
And you mentioned...
he speaks differently in Hebrew and in English.
Yes, he does.
Completely.
Which is ironically what the Israelis used to say about Arafat, that he speaks in 2 tongues. We are sorry for your loss of your cousin as well on October the 7th. We mourn for all of those innocents killed on October the 7th and since October the 7th. Since we last spoke, Zahiro, not only did you lose your uncle Avraham, but you continue to be arrested by Israeli authorities for your protests against the government and in favor of a hostage deal. There was a video of you recently getting detained in which what seemed to be Israeli police officers in plain clothes were grabbing you. What happened there?
Yeah, allegedly they thought that I'm bringing some, that I was bringing some energy, some tension to the scene, which was in front of one of the earliest, newest members of the coalition, Gideon Sa'ar. So there was a big happening over there. We had a rally, and I was running over there, and some detectives, undercover detectives,
you've
jumped on me and took me to. I was detained. I wasn't arrested, and it was.
You've been assaulted at these rallies too, haven't you, by the authorities?
Sorry, again, please.
You've been assaulted at these rallies as well by the authorities, haven't you?
Yes, there is. There was a lot of violence in certain cases, but I got bruises and stuff like this. Nothing serious, but a lot of horses, a lot of pushing around. I know that some of the hostage families ended up in emergency room in ER after. I
saw a horse trampling one woman. It's insane. Zahiro, we're 1 year in, and even under a renewed threat of rocket fire in Tel Aviv, protests are still taking place every weekend, pushing for a hostage deal. I believe you've just come from a protest. At what point do you see any of the public pressure working against Netanyahu and his right-wing coalition? Should protesters be doing something different? Because what they've done so far sadly hasn't worked.
This is my frustration for the past year. We just, stated it out so eloquently. Yeah, well, we are here to keep this issue on top of the Israeli public opinion media and outlets all the time. The minute we will stop do this, the hostages will have, much lesser chances to survive. This is a must, what we're doing.
And Zahiro,
I'm
a year in.
not sure that Israeli society can sustain a major revolution now, and the forces of good can overcome evil and fascism and change the way this whole region is spiraling into a grotesque violence. So I'm not sure that we can do this without external help, without some international intervention.
On that note, people tend to rally around their government when they're under attack. Has the Iranian rocket attack, has what's happening in Lebanon with Hezbollah, has that made the protests much harder for you guys? Has that made your movement less popular inside of Israel as people now focus on bigger regional issues and maybe forget about the hostages in Gaza?
100%. When the cannons are firing, then everybody should keep in line and not to make too much disturbance. And why are you occupying these policemen who guard you? It's all over here. It's all over in the media, in the streets. In the streets, we get a lot of let's say bad energy, but we also get a huge amount of support and love from the communities. And I just came from, as you mentioned, I just came from Rosh Hashanah, New Year's Eve, the Jewish New Year's demonstration in Caesarea near Benjamin Netanyahu's house, one of his houses. And the support from the people is really, this is what keeps us on in this.
One last question to you, Zahiro. A year ago, as you said, your cousin was killed, your uncle was taken hostage. The world's sympathy was with Israel after the shocking events of October the 7th. A year later, more than 40,000 Palestinians killed, Israel now attacking Syria, Yemen, Lebanon. What do you think the public perception globally is of your country right now? Are you a bit of a pariah? I know you just returned to Israel from the United States. How do you think the world sees Israel today, a year after October the 7th?
Close to pariah state. It's it's downhill really, really fast the last year. And the international support for Israel has shrunk, and as it should, in cases of this, proportions of daily deaths. And it's unbelievable, it's shocking, it's devastating. And we feel for all the casualties in the region, and we are all casualties. We are all being taken hostages by our governments, by our leaders.
Yes.
And somehow we need to, remove these leaders. And I'm afraid for Israel, it is maybe too late without some external intervention, as I said before. I don't know.
Well said. We will have to leave it there. Zahiro Shahar Mor, thank you for your time. And again, we are so sorry for your loss.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It's been a great honor.
Thank you. Did you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on notifications. For exclusive content and to support our independent, unfiltered journalism, head over to Zateo.com. Your support matters.